Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Digging into the Pet Industry. I'm Nancy from American Pet Professionals, and it's our second fall season of our live show. And I am so excited that you are here. We are live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So, wherever you're watching from, thank you so much for watching. And if you're listening to a future podcast episode, thank you so much for listening. Today we have APP member Tanya Kiesha Thompson, the founder of Breakthrough Pet Family Services. Welcome, Tanya. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Okay, so here on Digging into the Pet Industry, we dig right in. And I would love to know from you, Tanya, why don't we start with your varied background in the pet industry as a pet professional? Because I know you have a long history. So tell me a little bit of when you got started and your career path.
Well, basically, I started working with pets by working at a veterinary, not a veterinary hospital, an animal shelter,
Okay.
and I really liked it. And I actually volunteered at an animal shelter, and then I went back to school and got a few different degrees. But I decided I wanted to continue working with pets, so I started working. I worked in a doggy daycare for a while. I worked in veterinary hospitals.
Wow.
I've worked at PetSmart, and then I started my own dog walking pet sitting business that I've been doing for a year.
Wow. So you definitely have a really solid background in the pet
Yeah,
industry.
thank
That's
you.
really, really interesting because I feel like a lot of us pet professionals, we all have that similar kind of background where we might have done this, a little bit of this, and a little bit
Mhm.
of that. So now that you have that background, you did pet sitting for the past year, and you recently formed Breakthrough Pet Family Services, which is a new nonprofit
Mhm.
organization. Can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to start with it?
Well, I in the past I've always loved pets, and I always grew up with cats. And I realized as an adult that it's a lot harder when you're the one having to do the work to take care of the pets.
Yeah, right.
So there were times in my life where I ran into issues where I really wanted to have a pet. There was a time where I really wanted to have a cat, but I didn't have the money, and that made me really, really sad. Because I was going through a depression, and I think it would have really helped me to have a cat, but I didn't have the resources. And then eventually I did have the resources. And there were times where, for instance, I had a cat that had behavioral issues. There were times where someone promised to help me with pet care costs, and then she backed out of it. And in these kinds of situations, I reached out for help and didn't really know, there wasn't really anybody to go to. And I'd always thought,
Yeah.
why isn't there somebody who helps pet owners who are having pet care issues, whether it's a lack of resources or a lack of knowledge in terms of behavioral issues. Cats like, scratching furniture, urinating all over the place, things like that. I had even had a cat that actually attacked somebody once.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Yeah.
things can happen, and so during this past year, I was doing dog walking, and I had always had some chronic knee issues, but my knees were fine when I was walking dogs. But then eventually, I guess it started catching up to me, and the pain started getting worse. So I decided to stop doing dog walking because I figured, you know, I'm not
Save
getting
your
any
knees.
younger. Right. So I
Yeah.
have to, I can't let them get worse and worse. So I stopped that, and I thought, well, now what do I do? I still love animals. Um, and I do want to do something with animals. So I was kind of brainstorming, and I thought, what about this case management idea that I had like 15 years ago, based on a need that I had. And I thought, you know what, now's the time to do it. So I have some savings. So I thought, now I have a little bit of savings set up. So let me just really dive into this while I have the time to do it. Because I'm not doing anything else right now. I'm kind of in the middle of things, but I figure this is the best time to really work on a nonprofit without the pressure of having to have a full-time job. So I base my services on the kinds of things that I needed in the past that I couldn't find help for. So I do I help people with getting affordable dog training. I have a dog trainer who I have a partnership with, where he agreed to give my clients discounts because dog training is, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Mm, I also have partnerships with, I have a partnership with a veterinarian, and I'm seeking to create partnerships with other veterinarians. The one that I have a relationship with now, she has also agreed to give my clients discounts, because
Wow.
vet care is extremely expensive.
Yes.
And then I also help people who are having a hard time with affording food for their pets. I connect them with pet food pantries in their areas because a lot of people don't even know they exist, and I know where they are because I've used them myself, and and I've been in the pet industry for a while, so I know where these things are.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other service I do is I help people find foster homes for their pets for people who either are having a hard time with finding housing or lost their housing and need somewhere for their pets to go until they can get them back, or have to give up their pets for one reason or the other, and they don't want to bring their pet to a shelter.
Right.
And so all of these, my whole um, mission really is to keep pets out of shelters, because shelters are
Love that.
overcrowded. Because
I love it.
yeah, thank you. Because shelters are overcrowded right now, and a lot of them aren't taking pets anymore. And the ones
Yep.
that do, oftentimes will euthanize pets in order to make room for new pets.
Yeah.
Um, so and volunteering at animal shelters, I realized I didn't realize that that was happening, but it does happen. So my feeling is that if you can find foster homes for pets, then shelters aren't needed. And fosters are better because they're in a home, they're not
Yeah.
in a cage, so it's a better place for them to be while they're waiting to get adopted. And so that's the main goal. And I think, and part of that is, I feel that in order to achieve that goal of decreasing the amount of animals that goes into shelters, to the point where hopefully we can make it like almost rarely that a pet has to be surrendered to a shelter. I think part of how you do that is case management, which is what I do. I provide case management to the pet owner, so I'm helping the pet owner as well as the pet. So as an example, I had a client who was you know didn't have anywhere to go. She was staying with different people, and she had two dogs that needed to be fostered. They were living in her car. She was living in her car
Mhm.
with them, and she reached out to me, and I was able to find someone who would foster her pets while she's looking for pet friendly housing.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, thank you. And I was also able to provide her resources because I figure also, the person's experience matters too. And I think that's something that in the pet industry, in terms of animal welfare and animal rescue, I think sometimes it's overlooked based on what my experience has been. Is that the experience of the pet owner is overlooked, and it's always, let's save the animal, let's save the animal. But I think the most effective way to do that is to address the owner's concerns or issues. So in this case, I gave her social service information. I helped her try to find pet friendly housing by giving her links and resources, just to try to assist her, because I feel like when you're assisting the pet owner, you're also assisting the pet because the pet needs the pet owner, so it's like they need each other. So when you look at it as not just let's
Help
rescue
and
the pet.
save the pet only. Yeah.
Right,
But
exactly. I think it makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more compassionate, and it's just
so
more
much.
effective. Yeah,
I
because
love
now,
it.
thank you.
I mean, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm
Yeah,
like, my brain is going crazy because I just think that it's such an amazing thing that you're doing, and listening to the pet parent and helping them as well. You kind of need to. You can't just
yeah,
help the pet, because
right,
we all hear those stories of, people not affording food, which is, we all know now everybody's dealing with the high cost of
right,
everything, and pet
right,
food included, and living places included,
right.
vet care included.
Hmm.
And that's just really incredible that you're, also saying, but okay, what do you need as
Right,
well? How can I
right.
assist you? So I love the fact that you came up with case management, right?
Hmm.
So it's not just the person's dog or cat, but it's their whole family unit, even if it's the one person and the two dogs. So how did you
Right.
come up with that terminology?
Um, I I I have been in the social services system myself at one
Okay.
point in my life. So
Okay.
I kind of understood the concept of social work and case management in terms of helping a person um, with services in terms of getting their life on track. So case managers will, for instance, they'll help you with getting doctor's appointments. They'll help you with housing. If you're on social services, they help you with getting things like food stamps or
Yeah.
affordable housing, things like that. So it's like working with the person to try to help them um, make their life better. And it's somebody who may not know what to do on their own, and so they need somebody who's going to listen and be compassionate and say, here are the services, let me help you access them. So it's not
Yeah.
only telling people there are services available, but then helping them access those services. And so I thought, you know why isn't this happening for pet owners? Because pet owning, it's hard. Pets give us so much joy, but it's also, it can be a struggle.
Yeah.
So I felt like, what if we use this approach for pet owners for their pets? And I think, and I started in June, but I've already helped quite a few people um, keep their pets at home.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're just focused on the animal, then what can you do? You either, if you're going through issues and you call a shelter, they say, well, just surrender the animal.
Mhm.
And then it's like, that's not really helping the person, and it's not what's best for the animal either. What's best for the animal, what's best for the person is to look at the situation in a more, in a just in a broader way.
Yeah.
And I think that once you help the pet owner with what their issues are, then it benefits the pet, and then it also benefits the animal shelter, because in the animal shelter they don't have as many pets coming in. And I think
Yeah.
that if we were doing this on a national scale, then there would be hardly any need for animal shelters. I mean, you'd still have them, but there'd be
Right.
very, very few animals coming in, and so it would free up the resources of shelters, and pets would be happier and pet owners would be happier. So I feel like this approach really helps. It's a win-win for everybody.
It's like a complete focus on the whole unit, the family
Yes,
unit. And I love that
exactly.
you added, family, the word family
Yeah,
into your business or your nonprofit name, because Breakthrough Pet Family Services kind of gets people to go, wait, did you say pet family? Right. And
yeah,
then they're
yeah,
like, what do you do? What does that mean? And so I really love that you included that. So you're located in White Plains, New York, not too far
right.
from me. Will your services just be in that area to start?
Right now, I've been taking clients in the tri-state area. So I've helped people in
Okay.
Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey. But I'm trying to keep it confined to that area,
Yeah.
because right now I'm 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 just doing this by myself. I don't have any other case managers, which I would like to have eventually, as other case
Yeah.
managers to help me. But since I'm doing it all by myself, I'm trying to um, not spread myself too thin. I actually helped somebody in Tennessee
Oh,
because I saw
wow.
on Facebook somebody had abandoned 5 dogs. 2 of them were adults and 3 of them were puppies. And I saw her on Facebook. I thought, oh, that's so sad, So
Yeah, yeah.
I worked on helping her get people to adopt the dogs. So
Wow.
it was hard because it's not somewhere like I couldn't visit her. I couldn't see the dogs myself, because that's
Yeah, yeah.
ideally, what you do. But it was so far, and I don't know anything about Tennessee, so I had to do a lot of research to
Wow.
find out who to contact. Who the veterinarians were, which shelters were there, which foster programs were there, and I've noticed from what I've seen and what I've heard, the whole country is experiencing you know, um, there's no space in shelters.
Yep.
Foster programs are not taking any more pets. Which is why I started my own foster program. So I have a few people who are volunteering with me to be fosters. And I just got my own 2 foster cats a few days ago. So,
Oh,
yeah, it was a
how
lady who,
nice.
yeah. So I have them. I have the 2 of them here. So, because it's something that I figured, let me create my own foster program, since every other foster program is full. It's like, well, there's no lack of people who want to help pets. So let me just get them together, and so we could have more foster programs.
Building that really good network of fosters is so important, because
Yeah.
a lot of animal rescues that don't have a facility, they also rely on those fosters as well. And that's why I'm always like, if you can't adopt, please foster, even if
Right.
it's temporary, because it'll
Right.
really help just the pressure that's on our animal shelters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you're doing is really incredible. And before, you had mentioned about cats, like back when you were looking for your own help. Like, it's funny because I know a lot of my cat-centric members will love this, but the world is more dog-focused, right?
Yes.
When it comes to pets, and there's all kinds of pets. It's not just cats and dogs, but the fact that you were like, how do I find this? And I need a behaviorist for a cat. Are there any nearby? So, your experience with that will really help both cats, dogs, all of that. I really think that's incredible.
Yeah, and actually, I'm about to. I connected with somebody, actually, also who's in American Pet Professionals.
Oh,
I
good.
connected with her on Facebook. She has I forgot her name, but she has a store where she sells, it's like all cat products.
Oh, Sherry,
So
yeah, from
yes,
Mini Mart.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she got, so I.
Oh, you muted yourself. Hold on. I don't know if I can unmute you. Oh, there you go.
Is it?
Go ahead. Keep going. You're good.
Yes, my computer gave me some message, so it could have been my computer.
It's okay.
But yeah, but now that I know that cat behaviorists exist, which I didn't when I had, in the past, I decided to contact Sherry, and she got me in touch with. She gave me the names and numbers of people who are, who are cat behaviorists.
That's awesome.
Because there are a lot of cats. Like when I used to work in the veterinary hospital, just as an example, there was I was a receptionist at the time for the hospital, and somebody called, and he said, I want to bring my cat in to be euthanized. And I said, what's wrong? What happened? And he said, my cat scratched my daughter. And that's, of course, that's
cats
sad.
Do scratch every once in a while.
Right. But there's, and so I couldn't tell him, oh, that's not fair. If that's what that wasn't my job. I said, okay, well, I'll have the vet give you a call, and then you guys can discuss, and then
figure it out.
If she feels it's appropriate, then you can bring the cat in, and the cat did end up being euthanized. But what I feel like that happens, so many times. And, cats, like I said, some cats, they urinate all over the place, or they may destroy furniture. And so people get fed up. And a lot of times people will bring a cat back to the shelter, and then the cat just sits there sometimes for years, or they get euthanized at the shelter.
Yeah.
Whereas if you knew how to address those issues, then it would be more likely that you'd keep your cat, because you understand, okay, this is what I can do.
Right.
When the cat does blah, blah, blah,
Yeah. And, just like a dog, every cat is going to have a different personality, but cats are not just like, everybody's like, oh, cats are self-sufficient. They are to a certain extent, but they still need the love, the care, the attention.
Right.
Cats can be trained. I trained a cat to sit once. Well,
yeah,
not
they
once,
can be trained.
I trained him to sit. It was crazy. I was like, this cat is like a dog,
Yeah. Well, I had a veterinary, when I was a veterinary assistant, the hospital manager, she trained the cat at the hospital to fetch and to sit.
Yeah.
And I've seen cats be trained to roll over. So they're very intelligent. It's just that a lot of like people who are more used to having dogs, they don't understand that, it's just, you just have to have a different approach with cats. You can still train and do all that stuff and, fix behavioral problems. It's just that you have to, but cats think differently. Yeah. And so if you can educate people about that, like if I could have talked to that guy now, I would have said, well, let's talk about it. It could be that your daughter petted the cat in a way that it didn't like.
Maybe? Yeah.
Right. That it could have been something very simple.
Yeah.
So,
So now
And
you're in the
yeah,
position to offer that education and
yeah,
have a network of people that will help offer that education. I really love that because it is so true. A lot of people don't realize different pets need different kinds of training,
right,
and you have to recognize that. And I always say, do your research, talk to people that have that kind of pet that you
yeah.
want, all the things. So, for your clients that approach you for services that you provide, do they apply? How does it work if somebody needs help? Besides you
So
seeing somebody on Facebook, like somebody right now that's watching is like, whoa, I know somebody that could use Tanya's help in the tri-state New York area. How did that work?
well, they can always email me at breakthroughpets at gmail.com.
Okay.
Or you can find me on Facebook. It's Breakthrough Pet Family Services, and a lot of people message me that way. But if
Okay.
you can always email me directly.
Okay.
I actually get a lot of my clients from social media. I just see, who's asking for help, and now
Right.
because I'm on so much, people
Are
find
starting
me and
to
they message me.
recognize and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All
And then
right.
what I'd like to eventually do is have a partnership with um, a animal shelter so that they can,
Mhm.
for instance, if somebody comes and says, "Oh, I need to surrender this dog is driving me crazy," they can
Yeah.
say, "You know what? Why don't you call Tanya and see if she can help you out before you surrender?" You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so or I can't afford this dog anymore. It needs veterinary care that I can't afford. Well,
Right. What
talk to Tanya.
yeah,
Because that's another reason. Yeah,
that's really wonderful because that the more that you get known for that, the more people that you can help and your
right.
network will just grow and grow and grow. It's really wonderful. You know, I used to be that person still every once in a while. My local shelter where I adopted my dog, I used to have a Doberman. And so I was
Mhm.
involved in a lot of Doberman groups and stuff like that. And they'll still every once in a while I mean, my Dobie, it's been a long time since she passed, but I'll still get
Mhm.
that call, hey, there's a Doberman here, can you come evaluate it? I'm like,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So, if you're somebody like that as well and you're looking to work with Tanya, I think reaching out to her is a really great thing. So, what are your immediate needs now that, you just formed this new nonprofit not too long ago? I know you have been going so fast with all of the things. I'm so impressed because
Yeah.
you're like, do you know anybody that does this? I need somebody that does that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, okay, great. So I really commend you for that because you're not like just like, oh, I want to start a nonprofit. No, you're like, I want to start this and I want to get going now. And you really
Yeah.
made it a lot of strides. So what are
Yeah.
your immediate needs in order to help the people, your clients, and the pets that you'll be helping?
Well, my immediate needs right now, for the most part so far, I've been able to keep costs down. And then there have been times where I've bought people, I had a client who I bought her dog food. I've, given a little bit money, given a little bit of money here and there for vet bills. But what I really need is funding so I don't have to use my own money.
Yeah.
Um, because there are going to be times where, we're doing temporary fostering and the person says, I really don't have anything to contribute to this pet's care. That's going to happen. And so what I would like is to have funding so that, for my foster program.
Yeah.
And then I'd also like to have funding for veterinary care because, there may be a time where, a person goes to my vet and the vet can lower the bill by say 25%. And then there's still money left over that needs to be paid and that person may not be able to cover it. I would like to have funding so that anything that the pet parent can't cover, then my organization can cover it. So definitely, I think I can be even more service if I had some kind of
Right.
funding.
So is there going to be a way that like individuals can just go onto your website and donate for like, if you donate $50, it's going to, and then this is what it's going to, cover or organizations or companies that can work with you. Is there a way for them to figure that out yet?
I'm still working on a website, so that's another thing that I need. I need assistance with in terms of how to set that up because I know how to do like a GoFundMe, for instance,
Hmm.
but something that is good for more like long term.
Yeah.
Like having something where there's where a person can just click on the website and donate.
Right.
So that I still haven't figured that out
All
yet.
right, listen, you're new, so it's
Yeah.
okay. You'll get there. You'll get there one step at a time, right? Websites do take some time. You'll get set up and figure that out. But I really love that you're building the foundation right now with
Yeah.
telling everybody, this is what I'm doing. We're getting our nonprofit status. We're building our network now. You're doing everything, in my opinion, the total right way,
Thank
because,
you.
I think you're just such a go-getter about the passion that you have for this, and how quickly you want to get everything off the ground is really incredible. So you told us a little bit about the overall goal of, I'm saying, BPFS,
Yeah.
Breakthrough Pet Family Services,
Yeah.
the acronym, because
Yeah. It
eventually
sounds
you'll
a little
probably,
awkward, but
I know it's a little hard to say, but
yeah.
you'll get there. But is there something that you see in the future for your organization? I'm not going to say like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, but like,
Yeah.
say a year from now, where do you see the organization and the services that you provide for people that are, because a lot of people don't want to reach out, right? That's
Yeah,
also
that's true
another thing,
too.
is breaking
That's
that
true too.
stigma of, I don't want to reach out, I don't need help. And the thing is, people want to help, right? You see it if
Right.
somebody sets up a GoFundMe or something else, you see how quickly people jump in and help.
Yeah. Well, I think part of the solution for that is, like for instance, you know, I think when you have, um, you present yourself as being compassionate and empathetic, I think that makes a big difference
Yeah.
because, and the fact that I'm not, working, that I don't have an animal shelter and I'm not working for the government, for instance, it's the
Right.
kind of thing where I think I'm more approachable in terms of, okay, this woman's not going to, take my pet from me if I ask her for help, which I think
Right.
sometimes happens when people contact animal
Hmm.
shelters. So I'm hoping that just by word of mouth, people will say, "Hey, you can talk to Tanya. You can talk to that organization. They won't judge you." Um, and then I think also, so I think I'm hoping word of mouth can get people who maybe a little nervous over the hump and say, "Okay,
Yeah.
well, so and so in my neighborhood got help." And I try to really listen. I listen to what they're going through. I don't judge them for what they're going through. I don't lecture them. This is what you should be doing with your pet, or this
Right.
is what you should, because that happens. Also,
Yeah.
it's happened to me.
Yeah.
So it's more just listening and saying, "How can I help?" and just being open and humble. I hope that makes a difference. And then in terms of the future, what I'd like to do is, because like I said, I'm really trying to confine myself to New York, but sometimes people reach out from other places. But
Yeah.
what I'd like to do is have case managers who are
Like,
doing what I'm doing, but in every state,
yeah,
so that,
that's a goal.
yeah, that's what I would like. So that, because it's not a service that's really happening really on many levels, really. I mean, it's not even in Westchester County. It's there's a few organizations that are doing it, but it's not widely known enough where you can know who to go to.
Right.
So I
It's
feel like,
kind of like disjointed, right? I feel like what
right,
you're doing is bringing everybody to help one person or a family with their pets in a non-judgmental, like, we really just want to help you get back on your
yeah,
feet. You keep your pets, keep pets out of the shelter, and
right,
give them that education. And I feel like
right,
there's a lot of wonderful people doing similar things, but it's not really in a way that it's like a one-stop shop type of thing without
right,
shopping.
right,
You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah, because
Right.
some places, for instance, animal shelters. There's one up here, in Westchester. I forgot the name of the town, where they have a shelter and then they have a food pantry. So it's like
Right.
you can get that, but then
Yeah.
there's other services that you might have to go somewhere else to get low
Like
cost
to 10
veterinary
other
care.
people, which, I
Right.
get it, and it's okay. But I think the fact that, you're trying to meld everybody
Yeah.
together so that they can do that, and then have that spread across the country, I don't think it'll just be, such a wonderful thing. And then I've said wonderful like 100 times, but that I really feel that, because I just think
Yeah.
it's just such an important thing. I was just talking with a shelter worker that I know,
Mhm.
talking about how overcrowded they are with one of their shelters here on Long Island. And it's just heartbreaking, because a lot of shelters are going through that, unfortunately. And people give up their pets, just like during the recession, because they
Mhm.
can't afford things,
Yeah.
or they don't know, right? So
Right, or they
you,
don't know, like, they don't know. I mean, when I was working, because I worked during the whole time of the pandemic, and people actually, like in the veterinary hospitals that I was working in, we got more clients. Like every day we got at least two
Right.
new clients. But I think what happened is people kind of realized that they were kind of in over their heads for people who didn't really know that much about dogs or cats, especially puppies, because puppies are a lot of work.
Yeah.
But if you never had a puppy, you don't know. So I think what happened was people were like, whoa, this is like crazy. It's more expensive than I thought.
Yep.
Dogs get sick very often. They always have something wrong with them. And behaviorally, you have a lot of times you have to hire a trainer, which costs money. And I think what happened was people were like, I'm in over my head. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And, and then we know the recession with everything costing more these days, food, rent. People are like, if I have to choose between myself and my pet, I have to give up the pet. But what I'm trying to do is say, hey, there's an option.
There are resources out there.
Yes,
Let me
there are
help
resources
you.
out there. Yeah, that most people don't know about. So that's the other thing, because it's heartbreak. I've had to give up a pet before.
Yeah.
And it's, it is like it's part of your family.
Yeah.
And I think we have to look at pets that way, as being part of the family. And there's a lot of research about how beneficial pets are to people, the human bond connection, and it's really, really important for mental health, for physical health. There's statistics that say that your life, people who have pets live longer and they have a better quality of life. So it's really important.
Yeah, that's really incredible. So let me ask you this. What is one piece of advice that you would give to a pet parent that may be watching right now that needs help?
I would say contact me. breakthroughpets@gmail.com. I guess if somebody was too far, like if they were in California or something, it's hard because there's not a lot of other organizations doing this.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'd be able to tell somebody is just go online and try to do research. But it's hard. But hopefully, eventually, wherever you are, I can reach you.
Yeah.
But I would say, without having access to my organization, I would say just, do as much research as you can. Just look up everything.
I have a feeling you're going to get there and faster than we think because of how fast you've just jumped in, like full throttle. It's been amazing to watch. So let me ask you, what would you say to a pet business that's watching that could help you in a similar way in their location, or if somebody's nearby in White Plains and is like, I want to help, how can I get involved? I know they can reach you through your Gmail. We put that, but what is something that you would like to say to a pet business?
I would definitely love to partner with a pet business. I would love to, because we have the same population that we're serving.
Yeah.
So for instance, maybe, grooming, which is also, it's an expense. It's not extremely expensive, but it's an expense. And I know people who, have pets and they're like, oh God, I can't afford the grooming, but I have to.
Yeah.
I would love to, for instance, if I connected with a groomer, they can give my clients free grooming or low cost grooming, or or another one is like dog kennels. That's another big thing, because one thing I tried to do for one of my clients was to, because we couldn't find any fosters for a while. So I thought, let's have her board the dogs at a boarding kennel, but it's extremely expensive, just like everything else. So that was just not an option. But I've heard that if you can partner with a boarding facility, like a doggy daycare or something, you can get a nonprofit discount. So I would love for somebody to say, hey, my boarding facility would be more than happy to partner with you for animals that we can't find, that I can't find foster homes for.
Right.
So there's, it's dog trainers. They can have a partnership with me where they give their clients, give my clients low cost dog training, and hopefully, if they can give me donations, that would be great. I know sometimes that's an arrangement that you can make with for-profit businesses, that they can work with you, and it's like some kind, it's an exchange where they give you, a donation, and then you do something for them, and so I'm sure there's ways that I can work with for-profit businesses in a way where we can help our mutual clients.
I love that. So is there a story of a family and their pets that resonates to you within the last year that you've helped?
Let me think. Hmm. There's a lot of stories. Well, I would say there's a good amount of stories. I would say the situation currently with the cats.
Yeah.
I found this client through Nextdoor through the app, and she was her issue was that she has to move out and move in with her sister. She lives in a house and needs to move in with her sister in Florida because she's going through some financial struggles, and she wanted to bring her two cats. And the sister was like, "I'm sorry, I I want to help you out, but I don't want the cats here. Maybe she's allergic. I don't know."
Right.
But so her cats would have ended up in a shelter,
Yeah.
because I don't know how long she was looking for somebody to adopt the cats, because she's not planning on getting them back. She doesn't know when that would happen. So she said, if anything, they can just be fostered out. I mean, adopted out. But
Right.
she only had a few days before she was leaving, so she may have been trying to do other things and just, was like, okay, I only have 2 more days, and I still don't know what to do with my cats. So her friend posted on Facebook, on Nextdoor for her, and said, we need somebody to take these cats because we don't know what to do with them. And they would have, if I hadn't stepped up, she wouldn't have found anybody. And what would have probably happened was she would have ended up putting them in a shelter, or the shelter would have said that they couldn't take the cats, and then
Right.
she'd be really stuck.
Yeah.
Or they would have taken the cats, and then they would have ended up being euthanized to make space for more cats, and because it just happens.
Yeah.
And there are other scenarios where, when I was working at PetSmart, people would come in and say, um, they'd say, "Oh, I found this kitten on the side of the road," or "I found a guinea pig.
Yeah.
What do we do?" And I would tell them, I said, "We can't take the animal if we didn't sell you the animal." And the PetSmarts that I worked at, they didn't sell cats and dogs, so there's nothing we can do
Yeah.
if you find a cat or a dog. But people abandon their pets. It happens all the time.
Yep. It's
You have,
really sad.
yeah, and it's just because they don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So that's what might have happened to these cats, and because they're used to living in a home, who knows what would have happened to them?
Yeah,
You
and I
know?
know just recently in New York City, some of the shelter, I don't know which ones, but I know that there was like, we can't take any cats. Like, that's it. We're overloaded with cats. We
Yeah.
don't.
Well, in
And,
Westchester too.
yeah,
In
yep.
Westchester too.
So,
I don't think any, as far as I know, I don't think any Westchester shelters are taking any animals right now.
yeah,
Or if they are, you're on a waiting list. So it's really, it's an emergency, really. And
it is an emergency. So, if
yeah.
anybody's watching in any area that is overloaded, if you can foster or adopt, please,
Yes,
please, please go to your
fostering is,
shelter.
yeah. And one thing you can always do if you don't have anybody to help you with finding fosters, because what I do is with the connections that I have, I ask people, it's like, hey, can you foster? Can you foster? And I eventually find people. It takes a very, very long time, sometimes over a month.
Yeah.
But I would say, if you're looking to foster your pet, go on Facebook. There's Facebook groups that are specifically for finding foster homes and and finding homes to adopt pets into. You just put pictures up of them, and you give them, you give them a description of the animal's personality, if they're spayed, neutered, if they're vaccinated, and you have to make sure you really do all that, because people are very unwilling to take an animal, even to foster, who's not spayed or neutered.
Right.
One of my clients, we had to get them spayed and neutered before we could foster the pets out, because nobody will take them if they're not spayed or neutered and have vaccines.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so go on there and say, "Oh, my cat's really cute," or "My dog is really friendly," or whatever, and and hopefully you can get people who see your post and reach out to you, because it does happen. It's
Yeah.
difficult because there's so many animals. If you're in that part of Facebook, it's every other post is, "This dog needs to be adopted. This dog's in a shelter. Is about to be euthanized. Somebody
Yep.
save him." And and it's so that's also why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's just another resource for pets to to have somewhere safe to be.
I love that you're not only helping people, but you're an example by opening up your home to two foster cats and saying they can come here. So
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
shows that, you're living in what you're actually doing, right? With your
Yeah.
help and
Yeah.
service. And I love that you don't want to be judgmental. I feel like as a society, and I get it, right? You'd think like, well, why couldn't the family member take that dog, right? Like, because if it was me and there was a family, I would be like, yeah, I'll take your dog. Like, it wouldn't be,
Right. Right.
but that's not everybody. You don't know what
That's not
everybody's
everybody.
situation is. You don't know what their, living situation, their family. Do they have five, their own dog, whatever. So,
Yeah.
I think instead of having that thought, think of how you can help instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Because sometimes that's all people need.
right.
Like
Yep.
I've had, when I was doing dog walking, I had a dog actually who was showed some signs of aggression, and I told the owner, I said, I don't really feel comfortable walking your dog because he was looking at me today like he was about to bite me, and because I did
Right.
dog training myself, I know that look.
Oh yeah.
And and so that's a situation where I even connected him with a trainer that I know that I actually have a partnership with, and I said, talk to Joe because he can help you with those issues because again, if he ends up biting somebody, then animal control gets called, and who knows what happens with that dog next.
Yep.
And it so having but and I could have just said, oh, your dog is a bad dog. I didn't say that because
Yeah.
it's not about that,
You
whether
wanted
he's
to
a
help
bad
him and the dog, right?
right.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
actually was very careful about how I phrased it in my
Mhm.
text message to him. I just said something like, every dog could use training. So
Right.
it's not a big deal. He just has, it could be that he's anxious. It
Yep.
was raining outside, so maybe he just hates rain because some dogs don't like getting wet in the rain. So it's just more about just sort of leveling with people. And I just said, every dog can use training. Your dog is a very sweet dog. He's usually very friendly. He's probably just scared. He didn't want to go out in the rain.
Yep.
Work with my dog trainer, and you can resolve those issues so that whatever, resolve them so that it doesn't come up again,
And
because,
thankfully you could recognize that because not everybody can recognize that is, you know, potentially being a dog walker. Maybe they don't have the experience that you've
yeah,
had, so
yeah,
you probably helped him and the dog with that because it's such a common thing where somebody
yeah,
doesn't know that dog body language behavior or that look or all those things. So
right.
that's a wonderful thing that you did. So is there anything that I did not ask you about Breakthrough Pet Family Services that you would like to add?
Um, I would really love if people could volunteer to foster for us. Like I'm in White Plains, New York, but I'll take it, as long as you're like within even Pennsylvania. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are because I'm looking for more foster homes, um, and so yeah, that's it's really just trying to um, just provide more services. So funding is would be really really helpful if
Yeah.
anybody can reach out who might be able to fund this work that I'm doing, because everything takes money, and I've been able to do it, but I think I could do even more if I
Yeah,
had some funding.
definitely. All right. Well, I'm really excited about what you're doing and thankful for what you're doing. And we did put your information in the comment section. So if anybody wants to reach out with Tanya and find out how they can help, how they can get involved, please don't be shy. She will jump right on that email
Yes.
with you. I know you. Yeah, you'll be like
Any day. Yes.
answering them right away. So please do that. And you can go ahead and follow them on Facebook and connect with Tanya here on LinkedIn as well. And Tanya, I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I'm so happy that you were able to come on today and share what you're doing with all of our viewers.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come here.
Of
So this is
course, of
great.
course.
It's great for me, to
Hopefully, I'll
get
get
the
to
word
see you
out.
soon in person in New York
Yes.
City. Yes, hopefully soon. Maybe when it's not 95 degrees out.
Right, right. Well, it's getting a little bit better now. It wasn't too bad today. It wasn't
Yeah,
too
yeah.
bad.
All
But
right,
yeah,
Tanya, you take care. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And for everybody watching and listening, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.
okay. Thank you.